Eating out and socialising for nutrition. Now, I'm going to list off a couple of common negative beliefs that many of us have probably told ourselves over the years when it comes to eating out and when it comes to dieting. I don't really like the word dieting. I prefer to say we've got a goal or a plan, and it's a lifestyle shift. It isn't a hard and fast diet. As you know, if you've been working with My Health Revolution in the past, you'll know this, that we're all about improving your diet and not giving you structured meal plans and things like that, but actually just optimizing and improving what you're already doing, which is a lot simpler and a lot more sustainable. So a few common negative beliefs that I'm sure you guys will resonate with is I can't eat out because it will ruin all of my progress, or I can only eat the salad and drink water if I go out, or I'm not going to reach my goal and I must not socialize or have fun. Now, these are quite harsh negative beliefs, but we often tell ourselves that we can't go out and enjoy ourselves while sticking to a plan, which it's not true. We still can stay on plan, we can still enjoy ourselves, but by putting a few things in place, we can really help to prevent us from falling off track and reversing all the hard work. So there will have to be sacrifices, and whilst going all out on the bread basket, the starter, the main, the dessert, and 2 bottles of wine, that will put you in a calorie surplus. And as you would have known, we put you in a slight deficit when you work with us on our plan, but being in a calorie surplus over time leads to weight gain. So the truth is, you can enjoy eating out, socialising with friends and with family, and still feel satisfied. But ultimately, some sacrifices may need to be made. So we're going to talk through some suggestions on that and find a balance that works for you. And I'm going to give you some tips. So first of all, let's talk cuisine. Now, pick your cuisine wisely. There are healthier options out there, as you know. Now, I'm going to talk through a couple that I would suggest avoiding if you do have the choice. If you're deciding to eat out and you have a choice, I would generally avoid Thai, Chinese, or Mexican. Generally, these are really fried foods, lots of artificial ingredients and preservatives, really high in salt and hard to track, as they tend to also be a lot of picky bits. So what I would recommend, however, is going for things like Italian or Indian, maybe Turkish, European, British, or Japanese. Now, these options can give you really good menus that will be able to hopefully give you a healthy option. So for example, at an Italian, you could have olives to start, a tomato-based pasta as opposed to a creamy-based pasta. You could pick some lean meat or some fish with a side of vegetables. And if you're going for Indian, so Indian generally can be quite unhealthy, but you can ask for the plainer options like a plain chicken tikka, maybe some plain rice, a side salad, and some potatoes. Maybe a little bit of mint sauce on the side if you want a little bit of sauce in there. And then also Turkish, you can get things like lean meats, you can get things like hummus, salads, pita and rice. All of that stuff tends to be quite clean too. And then with British, you're usually able to get a piece of meat with veg, or potato and things like that, but always try and think of the protein first. And then you've also got Japanese. So sushi generally is quite healthy, but try to pick one that isn't fried, like in tempura. So those are just a few, that should give you a good few options to choose from when you're eating out in terms of cuisine. Oh, we have a viewer who has joined. Give me a wave if you can, or a comment. And if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in. So just a note on tracking your food, because you obviously will be tracking your food whilst you're on this plan. And we still recommend for you to track your food even when you're eating out. It's not going to be perfect, and it never is that perfect anyway. Nothing is 100% accurate. But it's better to do so because it's still going to give you a good idea. Now, I'm going to now talk about something that you probably will be able to resonate with, which is where you, say for example, you go to a pizza restaurant and you've organised a pizza and Prosecco night with the girls, and you tell yourself that you need to go for the salad or the minimal things, and you get there, everyone's enjoying their pizza, but you've told yourself, no, I'm going to eat the salad, I'm going to be good. And then you do that, you get home, you're starving, probably, if it wasn't a really juicy salad with lots of different components and protein. And then you end up probably heading to the fridge and just saying, I'll just have a little bit of chocolate, I'll just have some crisps. And before you know it, you haven't even noticed that you've consumed so many calories. And then the next day you feel terrible. You could have had the pizza and actually been a lot fuller and satisfied and moved on. So that's where I like to bring this example in, because I think sometimes just having the meal is better than restricting yourself, getting so up in your head, and as a result then binging. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. I can relate to that in the past, where I might have chosen the soup or the healthy option and then got home and then been starving. Ultimately, you need to fuel your energy needs. So we don't want to do that. So if you're going out for a pizza and prosecco evening, have the pizza. If you can, choose like a veggie pizza or something with good protein on it, instead of things like pepperoni and like fried foods. It's not the end of the world. It's when we get a lot of sides involved and lots of different picky bits and a copious amounts of alcohol. Try and control the portion. I really love the saying about you can't always control what you eat, but you can control how much. And I think this is so important. Oh, we've got another viewer. Hello. Comment, leave a question if you'd like. Let me know you're here. I'm sure a lot of people will catch this up on replay, but at the moment I'm talking to myself. So yeah, as I said, I'm going to repeat that. You can't always control what you eat, but you can control how much. So when you think about it, now you can think of things like barbecues or buffets or work events where you've got all this food out on display. Now, it's not to say that you have to say no to the cake or I don't know, the cheese sticks or something that's not particularly really healthy. But actually, just get a plate, fill it up with a little bit of everything you want. Obviously, make sure you prioritize the protein, make sure you prioritize the vegetables and the salads, and fill your plate up with lots of color, lots of nutrients, and actually enjoy that one plate. Eat it slowly, eat it calmly, instead of just getting a small plate, picking at little bits, maybe picking on a bowl of crisps as you walk in. Stick to that one plate, and with it, you're then remaining, you've got control, but you're still filling yourself up and you're still satisfied. Hello, Maggie, enjoying what I've seen so far? You can control how much. Thank you so much, Maggie, I really appreciate that. It's so true, because you may be at events or family occasions where people have provided the food and it wouldn't be your ultimate healthy choice or something that you feel like is going to get you to your goal. But having one plate of food is better than just picking on little bits that you think you can have and not being able to fully know how much you have had. So sticking to that one plate, controlling how much. Really good tip. Okay, now what I'm going to suggest is a few different tips on if you are eating out. So if you're having a late dinner, I don't know about you guys, but I do not like going out for dinner late. I'm like a 6:37 girl. But if for whatever reason you're eating late, say 8 or 8:30, I'm going to say something here that might be quite contradictory. Have something before. If you're used to eating at like 6-7 p.m, have something before you go out for the dinner, because you'll end up being ravenous and probably dive straight into the breadboard and end up probably making less healthy choices. So a few ideas of what to have before if you're going out for a late dinner. Some chicken pieces, like some roast chicken pieces you can get from the supermarket, some boiled eggs, some edamame beans. Edamame beans are really rich in protein as well, so they're a great plant option for any veggies we've got in the group. Things like crudités, like veggie sticks with hummus, or a yogurt and lemon dip, or a banana with peanut butter. So these are the sorts of things, they're like small snacks that you can have to line your stomach before going out, and it will prevent you being ravenous before you get there. So you do not need to starve yourself all day just because you're eating out. Just be mindful of not going overboard, of course. So some people suggest, if you know you're going to have a big dinner out, maybe just have a brunch. So have like a late breakfast, lunch, have a big filling breakfast like eggs, avocado, toast, lots of different things on there, and then have your dinner, or like if you're going to eat out. Some people suggest that, but that might not work for everyone. Personally, I wake up at like 8-9 o'clock, I have breakfast. I'm quite hungry at that time. So that probably wouldn't work for me, but it's finding what works for you. Now, as I said, the 1 plate rule, which I'm going to reiterate, you can't always control what you eat, but you can control how much. So try to stick to that 1 plate rule. Even if, like, say for example, you're having a starter, pick something that is vegetable based if you can, like a vegetable soup, or I don't know, some restaurants do like veggie sticks, like crudités and things like that. But pick something quite nourishing to start, and then avoid having the sides. This can lead to getting quite out of control. So stick to your 1 plate, make sure it keeps you full, make sure it's got protein. Then another thing would be choose dessert. Now this is a big decision. Choose dessert or alcohol, but try not to have both. So pick your poison here. With the bread, like with choosing that, if you're going to have both, you're naturally going to be in a surplus. It's a lot of sugar, a lot of calories. So pick one. I think I'd probably go for the dessert if that was me. So pick one or the other. And then in terms of getting back to the bread basket, if you can pick things like olives or crudités over the bread basket, that would be great, because naturally it's healthier for you and lowering calories, that goes without saying. But the fiber contained in the vegetables actually is a really, really good way to start your meal, especially if you're going on to carbohydrates after, because it primes our gut with lots of fiber and it helps the food pass through our digestive system and then out the other side, which is what we want. We want to detoxify, we want the food to move through us. And if you're picking between that and the bread basket, you wouldn't eat an entire loaf of bread before dinner at home, would you, when you think about it? And also it spikes your blood sugar, which will lead to more cravings and over consuming. And look, I am not here to say that I don't ever go near the bread basket, because I do. But what I'm saying is, if you've got a clear goal in mind and you're really motivated and you're really looking to lose weight sustainably, these are just a few things that you can sacrifice when you're eating out. So if you can, avoid the bread basket, go for something like olives or veggie sticks or something like that. So that's going to prime your gut, it's going to help fill it with fiber and help everything pass through your digestive system. And then when looking at menus, make sure you prioritize the protein. So as soon as you look at a menu, open it up and think, right, I need either a lean piece of chicken, a lean piece of fish. And when I say lean, I mean a lean cut of meat. So like a chicken breast or a fillet of fish without any fried around it, or breadcrumbs or things like that, or things that are in lots of sauces, but a lean piece of fish or meat. Or if you're going plant-based, maybe if that's tofu or their tempeh, for example. So hopefully that should account for a big portion of the meal. That's what the meal is based around. And then if you're going to have a sauce, can you ask for the sauce on the side, and then maybe only have like half of it, just to give you a little bit of texture. Personally, I love saucy things, so I can understand that you won't want everything dry, but ask for it on the side if you can. And then also make sure you're staying hydrated, as when you're eating out, food naturally contains a lot more salt. You're not seeing what's in it or how much salt they're adding, and it's a lot more than what you would usually put on at home. So make sure you're staying hydrated throughout the meal, more so than when you're just at home cooking for yourself. And then check the menu. I love looking at menus. I don't know about anyone else. I love checking a menu before I go out. But I would suggest, look, us as coaches, we're all here to help you, okay, with your journey. So if you know you're going out at the weekend and you got the restaurant, get the menu, have a look at it, maybe decide what you're going to have and stick with that. But also send it to us coaches, and we can point you in the right direction. We can give you some helpful guidance on what is a good option for you that's still going to keep you full and satisfied. Most of my clients do this, actually. We'll plan ahead and say, right, I'm going to have this to start, I'm going to have this for May, I'm going to drink this. And another thing with alcohol, say if your tipple is something like wine or a cocktail, things that are naturally high in sugar and fat, have the one tipple that you really fancy, like the wine or the cocktail, and then go on to something that is naturally lower in calories. So gin and soda, gin and slimline tonic, vodka and soda, vodka and slimline tonic. Put loads of fresh limes and lemons in it just to jazz it up a little bit and make it interesting. But have that one tipple so you've got that flavour and you've got had the enjoyment, but try not to just drink copious amounts of the wine and the cocktails after if you can. Or beer. Beer is also quite high in calorie as well, so that is in that same group. So if you do want to go all out, and we do sometimes, we have a birthday, we have a big occasion, and we don't want to be worrying too much about tracking, but try to be mindful throughout the week that that's happening. So try to manage your energy balance the week leading up. So things like increasing your activity. Can you get out and go for a few extra walks? Can you be prioritizing lots of vegetables and salads in your meals and lots of protein, as we know, because that keeps us full and keeps us satisfied. So if you can, leading up, be on the leaner side of the calories and maybe reduce your calories just by like 100 to 200 per day. By the time the weekend comes, you have a few in the bank to play with and you can enjoy that meal without worrying. So there are all things around this, but I just want to reiterate that there has to be some sort of sacrifice. And when I say sacrifice, it sounds a bit serious, but there has to be some give or take here. And ultimately, eating for yourself and cooking for yourself at home, there's nothing healthier as long as obviously you're having a good amount of vegetables and good sources of protein. Eating out, we don't know how much oil they're using, salt, sugar, and whatnot, fat, oils, things like that. So we can't control it. So this is a way of you reclaiming control. But as you know, we encourage you to cook as much as possible and eat fresh and eat whole foods. So those are my key top tips for eating out. So we've got, just to recap, we've got the cuisines to avoid and to go for. So things like Thai or Chinese or Mexican, I would suggest avoiding if you can. And then things to go for: Italian, Indian, Turkish, European, British, Japanese. You're likely to find some healthy options in those groups. And then also just remembering the story I told you about when you have a pizza and Prosecco evening with your friends and you go for the salad because you think that's what you have to do. But then you think constantly about the pizza, you're jealous of everyone's pizza, and then you go home and binge because you probably haven't filled yourself up. So make sure you remember that. If you're going to go out and you're going to have a pizza, have the pizza, enjoy the pizza. You're probably much better off doing that than picking something really light that's not going to satisfy you. And one pizza is probably, 800 to 1,000 calories. You can account for that in a day, right? Obviously, everyone's calories are different and they're set obviously uniquely to you. But as I said, you can maybe balance that out a little bit throughout the week. And then just to recap on a few of the tips. So eat before, if you can. If you're having a late dinner, have a little snack, a protein and fat rich snack. So things like crudités and hummus, something like chicken pieces or boiled eggs, edamame beans. If you can, stick to the 1 plate rule. Have the 1 plate of food. Choose dessert or alcohol, not both. Choose olives or crudités over the bread basket. Make sure you're prioritizing protein over everything. So fillets of fish, chicken breasts, things like that. Ask for the sauce on the side. Make sure you stay hydrated. Check the menu before and share it with us, and we can help guide you and support you. And by the end of this program, you'll likely be able to stand on your own 2 feet, and you'll feel so knowledgeable from what you've learned from us. So that is the goal. We're not here to guide you forever. We're here to give you the foundation, so then in a few months' time you can go out into the world and you know that you're making the healthiest choice for you. So that covers most of the tips. Thank you so much for watching. I think it's Maggie. Is it Maggie that's in here? Because I think someone left and then come back. If you do have any questions, please feel free to drop them in and I'll be happy to answer them. And if anyone is watching this on replay, you're more than welcome to drop a comment